Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something that, seems simple but causes a lot of confusion, especially when life gets crazy. We're talking about relaxation. We all think we know what it is. If you ask someone, they'll usually say it's, well, the absence of something.
Right, the absence of busyness, the removal of stress.
Exactly. It's a subtraction. You take away all the tension, and you should be left with ease. Simple.
But it's not that simple, is it?
Not at all. I mean, you've been there. You clear a whole Saturday, you sit down, and your mind is just racing. The anxiety sometimes even louder.
That's because that whole definition is flawed. When we try to relax by just subtracting things, it often turns into simple avoidance.
It's avoidance. Okay.
Yeah, and our source material today has this perfect little story. It's about a guy, David, who shows up late to a meditation retreat. He's totally frazzled, phone still in his hand, and he says, "I'm here to relax. I'm not going to stress about showing up on time."
Huh. I feel like I know that guy.
We all do. But if you look at what's really happening, he's not relaxing. He's unraveling. He's trying to let go of a commitment, but he's not grounded. He's trying to relax without himself.
Without himself, what does that mean?
He's not present. He's just creating more internal chaos by ignoring the fact that he broke an agreement, even a small one.
So we really need a whole new definition. Our mission today is to flip this around and see relaxation not as an absence, but as a presence of something.
Exactly. And the guiding thesis for a deep dive comes from the work of Tony Zampella.
And who is Tony Zampella?
So he's the founder of Pavana Learning Group, which focuses on, contemplative learning. He's a wisdom coach, and his work pulls together some really powerful threads: ontological inquiry, integral theory, Buddhist psychology, all to help people sustain a contemplative practice in their real lives.
That's a fascinating mix.
It is. And what that synthesis shows us is that true relaxation isn't about what falls away. It's defined by what becomes present.
What becomes present, like spaciousness.
Spaciousness.
Yeah.
Coherence. A unified sense of being. That's what we're aiming for.
Okay, so to really unpack that, we're going to look at it through two main lenses. First, Buddhist wisdom on sukha and dukkha.
Right, the dynamic of ease and constriction.
And second, a bit of Heidegger's philosophy on concern and authenticity. The goal is to see how building integrity is really the only path to creating that genuine inner space.
Let's start with the word itself, relax.
Yeah, I found this really interesting. The Latin root, relaxer, it doesn't just mean to loosen.
It also means to widen, to open.
Exactly. And the deeper root, lexer, is about creating more space. That just changes everything. It's not about collapsing. It's an active opening.
It points directly to the existential state we're after. It's an expansion of being, a clearing. And you just can't do that if you're internally scattered or, hiding from things.
That makes so much sense. If you cancel all your meetings for the day, but you're avoiding a tough conversation with your boss,
Oh, yeah.
that empty time on your calendar just gets filled with dread. There's no space at all.
That dread, that tightness, is what the Buddhist tradition has been exploring for thousands of years. It brings us right to this idea of dukkha.
Which is often translated as suffering, but that's not quite right, is it?
No, it's a bit of a mistranslation. The literal original meaning is a wheel axle that does not fit in its hub.
Wow, that's such a great image. It's not some grand tragedy. It's just friction.
It's friction, a grinding, a sense that things aren't flowing smoothly. And Zampella points out that this dukkha arises whenever we're grasping at something or avoiding something or twisting our experience to fit what we want.
It's a tightening.
It's a profound tightening around the idea of ourselves. Chogyam Trungpa called it the existential contraction. Jack Kornfield described it as being trapped in the narrow room of the reactive mind.
The narrow room. I love that. It's crowded. There's no elbow room in there.
And if dukkha is that narrow room, then its opposite, sukha, is just wide open space.
It's translated as ease or bliss, but the core of it is spaciousness, unconfined.
And here's the key part. You don't force sukha. You don't manufacture it by going on vacation. Zampella makes it clear that it's the natural state that emerges when the mind simply stops tightening around everything. You stop contracting, and the space is just there.
It was there all along.
It was there all along. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because the philosopher Martin Heidegger was talking about the exact same dynamic, this movement of contraction and expansion.
Okay, Heidegger can be a little dense. Let's break this down.
So for Heidegger, to be human is to be a being of concern. He uses the word sorge, which is a deep existential care. It's not just stress. It's the fact that we care about things, our work, our families, our lives.
So concerns aren't bad. Because it sounds like you're saying we should embrace our stress.
That's the critical distinction. The concerns themselves aren't the problem. The tightening, the contraction, happens when we relate to them inauthentically.
You authentically.
This is what he calls fallenness. It's our tendency to just fall into the way things are done, into the expectations of what he calls the they self.
The they self. So like what they say you should do, what everyone else is doing.
Exactly. You scatter yourself in all this busy work that isn't actually aligned with what you truly care about. You're just trying to keep up. And that scattered state, that's what clutters our inner world. It's the philosophical version of dukkha.
I see. So the opposite of that, authenticity, would be what?
It's holding your commitments consciously, coherently. When you do that, you're not scattered anymore. You're aligned. And in that alignment, an inner clearing appears. That clearing is spaciousness.
So you've got tightening and loosening in Buddhism and fallenness and authenticity in Heidegger. It's the same internal dance.
That's the same dance.
Okay, but this leads us to the heart of Zampella's argument, which is that you can't have that loosening, that spaciousness, without integrity.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just...
It's just escape. It's avoidance. You need wholeness first.
Right. Think about that leader who cancels all their meetings to create space.
Yeah.
But really, they're just dodging a huge conflict on their team. That empty calendar doesn't bring ease. It just kicks the can down the road. And that empty space fills up with this low-grade hum of anxiety.
That is a perfect example, and this is where integrity comes in. In this context, integrity just means coherence, alignment, a unified sense of being.
So a lack of integrity is when you say yes to something, but your whole body is screaming no.
Or you commit to a big project, but then you refuse to actually schedule the time to do the work. You create that internal friction, that psychic drag, and that is the source of the tightness.
So the big mistake is thinking that relaxation means running away from your commitments. But when you do that, you're just abandoning yourself. And those things you're running from, they're still there, humming in the background.
They take up space. And what we call relaxing, binging a show, scrolling on our phones, is often just numbing that tightness. We're not resolving it. Real relaxation demands that we resolve the inner fragmentation that's causing the tension in the first place.
You have to clean house.
You have to clean house.
Okay, so let's get practical. How do we do that? Zampella points to two dimensions that grow out of integrity. Relaxation as presence, and recreation as recreation.
Let's start with presence. This is about simply coming home. It's about resting in the awareness that's already here, without all the force and judgment we usually apply. It's just experiencing the mind's natural, open state.
But that's so hard to do when you have this massive list of incomplete stuff rattling around in your head.
That's the number one obstacle. All those lingering decisions, those half-finished tasks, those avoided conversations, they keep us leaning forward, bracing for the next thing.
So how do you handle them with integrity?
Zampella gives us 5 really concrete steps. The first is just capturing them. Get them out of your head and onto a piece of paper or into a system you trust. The mental energy it takes to not forget is enormous.
Oh, that's huge. Just writing it down can feel like a huge weight has been lifted. What's next?
Second, scheduling them. If it's a real commitment, give it a home in your calendar, even if it's just scheduling time to think about it. This honors the concern with structure. Got it. What's number 3?
Third is delegating or automating them. If it doesn't absolutely have to be you, get it off your plate. If it's a recurring task like paying a bill, automate it. Integrity means not letting it drain your attention every single month.
Right. Those first 3 are really about giving form to the internal noise. But what about all the relational stuff that causes so much friction?
That's 4 and 5. Fourth is clarifying or communicating your expectations. A lot of our inner tension comes from vague standards we've set for ourselves or others. Just getting clear brings so much relief.
And the last one.
Fifth is communicating to complete or change agreements. This is the big one. If you said you'd do something and you can't, the integrity move isn't to ghost someone. It's to have the tough conversation to renegotiate. The tightness dissolves the moment the truth is spoken.
That framework is so powerful because it shows that relaxation is earned through action, not inaction, like your mortgage payment.
Once it's automated, you don't think about it. The worry is gone. The background hum of don't forget is replaced with clarity. Relaxation is just the natural byproduct of a mind that's no longer cluttered with incompletions.
And that clarity is what opens the door to the second dimension.
Yeah.
Recreation as recreation.
I like that wordplay. So recreation isn't just about diversion or escape.
No, it's literally about recreating yourself.
Yeah.
It's about restoring the spaciousness that got crowded out by all the avoidance and fragmentation. When you handle your commitments with integrity, the concerns, they don't just go away, they dissolve. Their grip on you loosens.
And in that dissolution, space returns.
You recreate the openness that was yours to begin with.
This really shines a light on how limited our normal thinking is. We think in these dualities, right? Rest versus stress, freedom versus structure.
We treat them like they're enemies, like you have to destroy one to have the other. If I could just get rid of all my obligations, then I'd be free.
But it never works.
It never works. Because Eastern wisdom, and what Zampella is pointing to, shows us that opposites are actually partners. Ease, sukha, is only possible because we understand tension, dukkha. Freedom becomes meaningful because we choose to engage with structure and commitment.
So you don't find the space by rejecting one side. You find it by holding the whole thing together with integrity.
You inhabit the whole thing. And that brings us to the final transformative idea. Relaxation is an ontological event. It's about the freeing of your very being.
That's a big thought.
It is. When your concerns are met with integrity, they dissolve. When they dissolve, space opens. When space opens, sukha, that natural ease, just appears. You don't make it happen, you just return to it.
So it's an active practice. It's not passive. It requires what? Attention, intention, boundaries, and care.
All of those.
The real takeaway here for you listening is that relaxation isn't a collapse. It's a return to coherence. It's the natural ease that shows up when you finally stop being at war with yourself.
So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. If relaxation is the natural space that appears when your being is no longer crowded, what necessary conversation, what decision, what commitment are you avoiding right now that is actively manufacturing dukkha in your life instead of allowing sukha to emerge? That's where your real ease is waiting.